How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Shadowverse Evolve video here on Red Zone Rogue. I just got done building all 9 of my Flame of Levitine format decks for Shadowverse Evolve, and today we're going to be doing another deck tech speed run. We're going to go over all 9 of the decks in a pretty fast format. Try to spend like just a minute or two on each deck so you can get an idea of how each deck works, and maybe you want to try it out and build it for yourself. Like I mentioned, I literally just finished building all of these decks, so I haven't played them too much. So I'm really excited to actually dive into these and play all of these decks. Think of these as like a rough draft of each of them. I might do follow-up videos on some decks here or there as I play them more and as I want to talk about them more. I will also have links to the Bushi Nav deck lists in the descriptions down below for each of the lists, but I ask you, hey, if you're gonna at least just check out the lists, leave the video playing so we can get that watch time, so we can get the Shadowverse Evolve videos more traction here on YouTube. Love the game, just want to help it grow as much as I can, and any support from y'all out there is more than appreciated. So without further ado, let's go into our 9 deck speed run for Shadowverse Evolve Flame of Levitine format. Let's do it. And let's kick it off with one of my favorite classes in the game, SWORDCRAFT, with our leader Narita Taishin here. We have our Evo deck, we have our Evo points, we have our suite of tokens, and then of course our main deck. This is the Heroic Sword, a new archetype brought on by set 3, and it looks really, really fun and really, really resilient. We have stuff like our Iron Rot Defender, a 1-drop 2/2, and if you have 2 heroic cards or more in your cemetery, it becomes 2/3 with Ward, which is pretty great, really, really efficient. We're running stuff like Swordsman to engage your enemy followers so we can attack into them. Quick Blader for a little bit of extra bonus damage. Old Man and Woman, don't sleep on them. 1/2 with Bane for 1 is not bad at all. Can clear off some really pesky stuff. Amaro, Spear Knight is just really, really solid. So I'm actually going to set Amaro aside for now because he's really important. We're running our standard Floral Fencers. We have 2 Floral Fencers in our Evo deck. We have our standard 3 Gemstaff Commanders to tutor for whatever we want. We have Valiant Fencer, another one of our big hitters in the deck. I want to set this aside for now as well. And then we have Mock Knight. So these are like the big heroic cards that I want to talk about. Let's finish the deck first, and then I'll talk about our little heroic package. So Amelia, just another great efficient card. She can either shoot something for 4 or put a dude into from your hand into play to kind of like turbo stuff out. We have a package of one-ofs that are really, really good to tutor for with our Gemstaff Commander. This is like our toolbox here. So we have Albert, who kills our opponent dead. Attacks your opponent for 3 storm, and then you can Evo him, and then attack him, So you can just smash your opponent for a ton of damage. With Albert, I'm a big fan of Tsubaki, who either has Storm or just kills a dude. I know a lot of people aren't running her, but I think she's still really, really solid. We are, of course, running our boy Leonidas, so we can get that resolve to give all of our dudes +3/+3 and rush. And of course, we have the one of Leonidas in our Evo deck. And then we have Alexander, great way to just clear opponent's board. Just a really, really good, almost like a board sweeper. And then last but not least for here, Narita Bryan. She just shoots her opponent for 5. Great way to have reach, and also she's a 6/8 Bane with Ward and Aura. She's very, very good. She's very good. All right, let's talk about our spells, and then we'll cap off with our heroic package, because this is a really important part of the deck. So Unbridled Fury, it's just a really efficient removal, deals damage equal to the number of followers you have on the field, and we have a way to just gum up the board with followers between these and between stuff like Amelia and Floral Fencer. So this will usually be hitting for 3 or 4 damage, which is pretty good. And then we have the card that's going to linchpin into these. Heroic Entry. It's a 3-drop spell, and you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you can put a SWORDCRAFT follower that costs 3 play points or less onto your field, so you can actually hit any of our sword followers. But if it's a heroic follower, it gets +1/+1, which is great, and you put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. That works really, really well with Mock Knight. And Mock Knight is a 3-drop 3/3, and if he's put onto the field from anywhere other than your hand, give it Storm. So if you put it into play with Heroic Entry, it is a 4/4 with Storm. That's pretty good. He also can Evo for 1, and when you evolve him, he basically domes something. On evolve, select an enemy fall on the field, deal it 2 damage. If you have 2 heroic cards in your cemetery, deal it 4 instead. So running 2 in the Evo deck. So just a really efficient little dude who can storm your opponent for 4, Evo, and then blast something for another 4. So I guess if you evolve him, he becomes a 5/5 storm. Solid. All right, this is the big boy, Valiant Fencer. He's a 3-drop 2/2. Not great stats, but wait, he's a lot bigger than he seems. You can Evo him for 1, and then it says this ability can only be activated if there are 2 or less cards in your hand. But we might have some ways to, you know, to finagle that a little bit. Search your deck for a heroic card. So this is Fanfare. Search your deck for a heroic card with a different name than this card, reveal it, add it to your hand. So he just gets to tutor for any heroic card, including followers or that spell. And then when you evolve him, he becomes a 5/5, which is pretty solid. So the Evoed version of Valiant Fencer is a 5/5, and it says on evolve, select a heroic follower with Evo on your field and evolve it, which is really, really solid. So he can evolve another Valiant Fencer, or a Mock Knight, or even better, our little boy here, Amaro Spear Knight. It's just a 2-drop 2/2, Evo for 3, or for free, if you can do it with the Valiant Fencer. And strike, if there's another heroic fall on your field, give this follower +1/+1, and then when you evolve him, such a powerful little card. He becomes a 3/3. On evolve, select a heroic card in your cemetery and play it for 0 play points. Any heroic card in your cemetery, so you can do another follower. You can do the heroic entry if you don't have any good hits. So a good play would be to have your Valiant Fencer and your Amaro on the field. Evo your Valiant Fencer, which then Evos your Amaro, which then gets you back your Mock Knight that has Storm. And then you have a 5/5, you have a 3/3, and then you have a 3/3 with Storm. Pretty good. Pretty good. So yeah, that is the Heroic Sword deck. Next up, we have one of the most powerful decks of this format, Egg Haven, or Humpty Dumpty Haven, Egg Burn, whatever you want to call it. This deck is cracked. Pun definitely intended. This is one of the decks that I might do a full deck tech for, but let's give a quick rundown of how it works. Basically, you use all of the sweet new Fabled cards in Haven, as well as Alice, in conjunction with your boy Humpty Dumpty and Eggsplosion to just burn your opponent out and do just a crap load of damage. Alice is pretty simple. She's a 3-drop 3/3. She's important because we'll talk about her in another deck as well. Fanfare put a Fabled counter on this card. All of the Fabled cards care about Fabled counters to some degree. And then you can remove a Fabled counter from her, select another follower on your field or in your EX area, and put a Fabled counter on it. So she can kind of like move some Fabled counters around. She also can evolve, and that's the most important part. And when she evolves, she becomes a 4/4. And on evolve, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you can put up to 2 Fabled cards from among them into your EX area. Put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. Of course, we're running a full play set of that. But why that is so good is a lot of the Fabled cards, or some of them, care about not being played from hand. So yeah, running the full play set of Alice. We're just running Bell Ringers. It's a Bell Ringer Angel. It's very simple. Just gums up the board. It does Bell Ringery things. We want to kind of play for a little bit of the longer game. We are running a single Evo Bell Ringer for that tempo potential. We have Odette White Swan, interesting card to grab off of some of our other stuff. One of the key cards is going to be March Hare's Tea Time, which lets us get a card from the top of our deck that costs 5 play points or less, and this is one of the targets. And so it's a 4/6 Fanfare, +2 health to your leader and all your followers. Last words, +2 health to your leader and all of your followers. Just a nice little efficient card, and works well in conjunction with Humpty Dumpty, actually. Rapunzel, really efficient, 3-drop 4/5 with Ward, and if it has no Fabled counters on it, it can't attack. So this is a card that you want to move Fabled counters onto with Alice or some other effects, but still, it's a 4/5 Ward for 3, so it just gums up the board really well. Here we have a Princess Snow White, just a good resilient card. It's a 2-drop 2/2. If it's put onto the field from your hand, put a Fabled counter on it. And if it wasn't from your hand, it gets +1/+1. And then if it dies, if it has a Fabled counter on it, it goes into its EX area, so it comes back. So it's just really, really efficient. It just keeps coming back. We have Pinion Prince, a linchpin of the deck, 5-drop 4/5 with Evo. And Fanfare, select a Fabled card in your cemetery and put it into your EX area. You may put a Fabled counter on it, which is really good. And it's a good way to get multiple uses out of your Snow White, because it'll come in with the Fabled counter on it, and then, yeah, good shenanigans. It'll already have the Fabled counter on it. That Fanfare is the most important part of this card, but it also has a pretty good Evo version that, you know, enables you to just kill stuff. It has a 5/6 with Assail, which is really good. Being a 5/6 is also important because it survives our Humpty Blasts. That's what I'm calling them, Humpty Blasts. Good enough to run a full playset in the main. Tin Soldier is incredible. This is one of the ways we kill our opponent dead. 3-drop 3/4. If it's put into the field from anywhere other than your hand, put a Fabled counter on it. So this is a card that you really want to play from your EX area or from your bin or whatever. And then you can remove a Fabled counter from it, select any enemy follower or leader, and deal it 2 damage. So you want to put counters on this and then dome your opponent for 2. Really, really good card. One of the ways we burn our opponent out. Faria is another way to get Fabled counters. She's just a 1-drop 2/2, and then you can activate her, select a Fabled follower on your field, put a Fabled counter on it. Simple, great. We have a 1-of Majuro McQueen in the deck, who's just a great way to kind of cycle our amulets, some of our less good amulets, get our tea time back, which is great, and then deal a little bit of damage. So we're running 1 Majuro McQueen, and then we have the 1-of in the Evo deck. And this is where you get a selected amulet in your cemetery and add it to your hand, so you can then play it again. All right, now we have why we call this egg burn or Humpty Dumpty burn. Let's talk about Humpty Dumpty and Eggsplosion. So Humpty Dumpty is a 3-drop 3/3 that evos for 0. Pretty simple, right? Well, when you evolve Humpty Dumpty, he blows up. So he becomes a 4/4, doesn't matter because it says on evolve, deal 5 damage to each follower on the field and 3 damage to each enemy leader. Discard your hand. So basically you want to just Humpty Dumpty, blow up the board. You want to have some 6 health dudes that survive. So like your evoed Pinion Prince, or if Odette was able to pump your board, they can survive. But yeah, blast your opponent in the face for 3, wipes the board. You have to discard your hand, which isn't too bad. Because we have other ways to get stuff back. We're fairly resilient here. We have cards in our EX area as well. And then Eggsplosion is a 3-drop. Deal X damage to each follower on the field and each enemy leader. X equals the number of cards named Eggsplosion or Humpty Dumpty in your cemetery +1. So you can set up a turn if you have a bunch of Humpty Dumptys in your cemetery where you can like Eggsplosion for 4, 5, and then 6. And just win the game. Plus all the damage that Humpty Dumpty does when evoed. This deck is actually super legit. It's a super legit deck. And then of course we have our the rest of our cards. We have spells, Surefire Bullet, just a nice efficient removal. We have Trail of Light, so when we discard our hand from Humpty Dumpty, we can draw some cards back. We're only running 2 Trail of Lights. It might be important to run 3, but this version is only running 2. Alice's Adventure, Fanfare, search your deck for a Fabled, put it in your hand. Really good. And then you can pay 1 and then activate this and sack it, and then give a Fabled follower Rush and Assail. That's not too bad, but this is a good card to yeet with Majuro McQueen. And then we run full playset. And then finally we have March Hare's Tea Time, which is very, very good. It's a 4-dropped amulet. Fanfare, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You can put a Fabled follower that costs 5 play points or less onto your field. Put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then you can pay 2 and then activate it and put this card into its owner's cemetery. Select a Fabled follower that costs 3 play points or less in your cemetery and put it onto your field. It's really, really good to have like some March Hare's Tea Times out. When you activate your Humpty Dumpty, blow up the board, discard your hand. Well, hey, you can still get some stuff back with your Tea Time. Tea Time is super, super good, and one of the reasons why we are running the Majuro McQueen. So yeah, that's Egg Burn. This is a deck that I want to feature more, maybe do some gameplay, and maybe do like a full, super detailed deck tech. All right, and now we're to Dragon. This is Jabberwock Dragon, a deck that I think sees a little bit more play in the next season in set 4 meta, but I still think it's really, really fun here. And honestly, I didn't want to play more discard Dragon because it's basically the exact same deck with almost no changes. And then also this runs some discard stuff. So we have our Evo deck, Evo points, and then our main deck. This card's actually pretty interesting for the deck. It's a 2-drop 2/2, draw a card and then discard a card. But when you evolve it, you have to discard a card, but then you get a Wurmkin follower from your cemetery and then add it to your hand. So that's actually really important for this because we care about our Wurmkin followers. Also, it's a nice little 2-drop. We have Dragon Summoner, which is basically a dragon staple going forward. 2-drop 1/2, 1 play point, Evo them. And then when you evolve the Dragon Summoner, you get a look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal a dragon follower from it, put in your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Just really, really solid. And it's a 2/4. It's just kind of like chonky. So we are running 2 of those. We have a lot of early drop Evo cards. Next we have the Shape-Shifting Mage coming back from set 1, 2-drop 2/2. If Overflow is active for you, it gets +3/+3, which is pretty good, becoming a 5/5. More importantly, it evos for 1, and when it evolves, still a 2/2, but it has Rush or Assail and Bane, and then Rush from evoing. So you can just kill anything on the board. Really good at wiping up those really pesky, chonky minions or followers. So we're running 2 here. This is an interesting include that I saw on some lists, and I figured I wanted to try it out. It's a 3-drop 4/3, and if you discarded a card this turn, it costs 2 less to play, so it only costs 1. So on turn 3, you can play your Dragon Tamer, draw a card, discard a card, and then play your Wildfang Newt. And then having a 2/2 and a 4/3 on turn 3 is like really solid. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty solid. And now we have our Jabberwock package. Let's talk about Jabberwock before we talk about any of these other cards. So Jabberwock is a 7-drop 7/7 with Fanfare. You basically sack a follower and then you reveal cards from the top of your deck until you get a follower that costs more play points, and then it comes directly into play. That's basically what it says here. You still get the Fanfare effect. You can basically Jabberwock one of your lower dudes. And if you Jabberwock into a Jabberwock, its Fanfare effect will happen again, and you can keep doing that. The idea here is that all of these followers will go into one of these followers, right? So you have your Jabberwocks that do your Jabberwock jabberness. You have your Fortes, so you can just blast your opponent in the face for 5. And then of course we have the Evo Fortes, so 2 Evo Fortes, 7/3 Storm and Aura, one of the best cards in Shadowverse Evolve. We have our big finisher, Genesis Dragon, so we can Jabberwock into a Genesis Dragon, which is pretty sick. If you Jabberwock your Jabberwock, you will hit either Genesis Dragon or Hishi Akabono, which is a 10-drop 10/10 that heals you for 10. So yeah, getting the Genesis Dragon is sweet. Great way to kill our opponent. Also, it's a Wurmkin, so that's really important for that first card we mentioned, the Dragon Tamer, so you can get it back, just in case. So we're running 2 of the Genesis Dragons, and then 2 Hishi Akabono, which, like I said, is a 10/10 Fanfare. Heal your leader for 10. So just a great way to just not die, because our deck is kind of slow. And then we're running 2 carrots to race our Hishi Akabono. And then the rest of our deck is some like cool discard shenanigans. So we're running a Dragon Song Flute because we care about some discard shenanigans that you saw already. Might want to run 3 here. I'm not sure. I saw a lot of decks running 2. Dracomancer's Rights, similar thing. Really good, efficient card. Cares about discarding stuff. We're going to be discarding some stuff. Playset of Trail of Lights. We're going to be discarding. We care about Trail of Lights. Playset of Dragon Oracles. Get that big ramp going. Playset of Blazing Breath. Good, efficient removal. 2 of Serpent's Wrath. 5 damage, draw a card on Overflow. Pretty good. And then just some conflagrations. Yeah, that's the deck. Pretty simple. A lot of dragon stuff that you've seen before, but we just kind of goozle our opponent with Jabberwock. So we Jabberwock away one of these lobies, and then we just kind of like smash our opponent in the face and kill him out of nowhere. So, yeah. All right, next up we have Forest. And this is one of the decks that I think is also a breakout deck of this format. It's a kind of a new take on Forest and uses the Alice and Fabled mechanics. Unfortunately for me, I don't have 6 Alice and 6 Evo Alice, so this is a deck where I have to take cards from that Egghaven deck, but we'll talk about it as though the deck were full. So yeah, let's talk about it. Evo deck, Evo points, main deck, let's rock and roll. We're basically running full playset of Alice Wonderland Explorer. This execution, pretend it's an Alice, though I've seen some lists actually run a one of execution. But yeah, Alice, just really, really good. Can move the Fabled counters around, and then we can get 2 Fabled cards from the top of our deck when we Evo. And then of course, we are running Evo Alice. Once again, pretend there's a full playset here. But yes, we are running the full playset of Alice's and then Alice's. So we'll just kind of set those there. Just pretend we have all the Alice's. All right, Crystalia Lily, just insanely powerful card. Really good removal. Also, you get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and reveal a Crystalia or Pixie Faller from among them and add it to your hand. Put the remaining on the bottom on Fanfare. Not too bad. We're running the full playset in main. And in the Evo deck, we are running 2 of. She's just really good. She's very good, very efficient. Oh, I should note when you Evo her, she takes an enemy follower and puts it on the bottom of their deck. So goodbye. Never see that again. We have a Marvelous Sunday, kind of like a Forest staple now. 2-drop, 2/3. You can Fanfare, return another card in your field to the owner's hand, and then you heal for 2, which is great. So she synergizes with all of the bounce cards, like Elfchild May, which is, you know, kind of a Forest staple. ETB, deal 1 damage, and when it's returned to your hand, deal 1 damage. We're only running 1 copy of May in this deck. I've seen other decks run up to 2 or 3, but I liked this list that I saw that was winning a bunch of tournaments. It was only running 1. Here's a new include. This is Magical Fairy Lilac. This is a pixie, by the way, so you can, you know, get it with Lily. So she's 3-drop 1/4. You can activate her, put a Fabled counter on her, or put a Fabled counter on her from our Alice. But her other effect is you can pay 1, and then remove a Fabled counter from her, and then select an enemy fall in the field and destroy it. You don't have to activate her to do that kill ability, which is kind of nuts. So if you could just pile a bunch of Fabled counters on her, she's like a machine gun. She just blows things out of the water. Yeah, pretty good. Running 3 of her. Hey, look, this is a way to actually put counters on Lilac to just blow everyone up. Faria, like we said, you can activate her to put a Fabled counter on a Fabled follower. So running 3 of her. I'm running a 1 of Riko Kashimoto, just a really good efficient card. Just great at killing your opponent's stuff. Nice little 2-for-1, Dominum for 3. Great, just running a 1 of that. We're running 3 of Crystalia Lily, or Tia. Once again, just a great way to put some bodies on the field. And of course, I gotta run my world's Tia. So yeah, we're running the 3 of Tia. And in the Evo deck, I'm pretty sure we're only running a 1 of in the Evo deck to get the to give that Eve token +1/+1 and Rush. Not too bad, but most of the time you just want to drop her with combo 3, get that extra Eve on board, which is a nice little 4/4. We're also running the 3 of Ancient Elf. Once again, just a lot of like standard foresty stuff. It's just a big dude. It's a 2-drop 2/2, and then Fanfare, return another card from your field to its hand, and then gets +1/+1, and then Evo, return another card in your field to his owner's hand, get +1/+1. So it becomes a 5/5 with Ward, and then you get to bounce 2 of your things, which is good for things that want to be bounced. We have Silent Suzuka, the breakout card from Uma Musume for Forest. This card's insane. That's a 4-drop 4/1 Storm, and then when you race, you get to yeet something. By the way, here's the Evo Elf. And then Silent Suzuka on Evo becomes a 5/2 with Storm, and you select an enemy from the field and put it on top of the deck. I really like the fact that it dunks it on the top of the deck because it basically blanks their draw, which is really good. You have to be careful about the Fanfare, like not giving another good Fanfare, but Suzuka's like powerful. Now we have some cards that we want to bounce back to our hand with Harvest Festival. It's a 1-drop, and then when it leaves your field, you get a draw card, and then you can also do its effect to give your healer, or give your leader +1, but this is one that you have on field and then bounce back and then keep playing. This is a card that you really want to bounce back to your hand. Nature's Guidance, similar thing, lets us bounce stuff back to our hand. Select a card on our field, return it to our hand, and then we get to draw a card. So running 3 of the Nature's Guidance. Here's a new card. This is a Princess Fable, 2-drop, 2/3. You get to put a fairy in our EX area and then combo 3, put a Fable counter on this card, and then we can activate this and remove a Fable counter from this card, and then shoot an enemy follower for 3. So just a nice little efficient card. Another new card with Woodland Band. Look at the top 4 cards of our deck. This is an amulet. We can put a Fabled follower from among them into our EX area, put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then you can activate this and put a card from our cemetery, or put this card into the cemetery, select a Fabled follower on your field, and put a Fabled counter on it. So just another good way to just mow our opponent's stuff down with Lilac here. Also, this is not a bad one to bounce back to our hand, so we can play it again and get the fanfare. And then finally, last but not least, we have our big legendary finisher of the deck, Beauty and the Beast, which is a 5/7 with Rush and Aura for 6. Fanfare, put a Fable counter on this card. If this card was put onto the field from anywhere other than your hand, give it Storm. And then it says you can just pay 1, remove a Fable counter from, remove any number of Fable counters from this card, give it +X, where X equals the number of Fable counters removed. So if you can put a bunch of Fabled counters on this, give it Storm, you can just smash your opponent for a bunch of damage with Storm. And that is Fabled Forest. All right, now we have 2 Abysscraft decks. We have a Ghost Aggro deck, and then we also have this weird Dark Angel control deck that is super cool. So let's start with the ghosts. All right, this is Ghost Aggro Abyss, and it seems really cool, and I'm very, very keen on playing this. We have our Evo deck, we have our Evo points, and then we actually have some tokens that we need to talk about too, because there's some new tokens to cover. We're gonna start off with Baccharis, Puppy Ghosty. It's so cute and sad. It's a 1-drop, 1/1. It can Evo. We're not actually running any of the Evo versions of it. And it says, Fanfare, if there's a Gargantuan ghost on your field, draw a card. This follower is also a ghost. So this counts as a ghost for cards that care about ghosts. And if there's a Gargantuan ghost on our field, you get to draw a card, which is actually pretty sweet. So we're running 3 of these. Just a nice little early aggro card that also can draw you a card in the late game. And it counts as a ghost. And we do have stuff, notably, we have the Masquerade Ghost that cares about ghosts. So we got 3 of them. We got our Ambling Wraith, just a solid aggro card, 1-drop, 2/1. Each opponent or each player takes 1 damage. Here we have another new card. We have Demonium Punk Devil, a pretty sweet card that a lot of Abyss decks are going to be using. 2-drop, 2/3 with Ward, and then you can take 2 damage or pay 2 life, and then give him Bane, which is permanent. And then on last words, when he dies, you heal for 2. So it's a nice little dude. Comes up the board, has Bane, and then Ward and Bane, and then heals you back up. Heals you back up. I can say things properly. Here we have Mischievous Zombie. 2-drop, 2/2. You can Evo him for 2. And then Fanfare, discard a card, summon a ghost token. If you discarded a departed card, draw a card. And there's a lot of departed cards in the deck. So Ambling Wraith is departed. Baccharis is departed. The zombie is departed. So yeah, just summons a ghost, which is a 1/1 with Storm. At the end of your end phase, or the beginning of your end phase, you banish the ghost. So it just sticks around for 1 turn. And then the Evo version of this card, let's show off our little Evo Mischievous Zombie. 3/3, on evolve, select a ghost on your field and give it Bane. So that's a great way to just kill something straight up. Yeah, pretty solid. So we run 3 of them, and then we have the Evo cards. In fact, let me prep our cards because we have Vite coming up next. Vite's not a ghost card, but he's just a really good aggro card. 2-drop, 2/2, strike, summon a Force Bat, and you can Evo. Force Bats are just 1/1 tokens. Your little 1/1 tokens, and then we'll kind of prep this Gargantuan ghost for later. And then on Evo, you put a Force Bat into your EX area, and then strike, summon a Force Bat token. Running 2 of them. Just a good little dude who makes more little dudes. And next up we have another good little dude who makes more little dudes. Trick Dullahan, 2-drop, 2/2. Fanfare, put a ghost in your EX area. Necrocharge, put 3 instead. Really solid. Good way to, dome out our opponent. Just get a bunch of ghosts. We have Mini Soul Devil, 2-drop, 3/2. Whenever one of your followers evolves, deal 2 damage to each enemy leader. Really, really solid. We have Playful Necromancer, one of my favorite cards. This is a starter deck card. 3-drop, 3/3, Evo for 1. And then when you evolve her, she becomes a 4/4 that also summons 3 ghosts. So you have a 4/4 and then 3 more ghosts, so you can just punch on in for a bunch of damage. So we're running 2 of those Evo, 3 main. And now we have one of our big payoff cards with the Masquerade Ghost. A 4-drop, 4/4 that can Evo for 1. And whenever a ghost is put onto your field, give it +1 attack. So all of our ghosts are now going to attack for 2. But he does even more, because when you evolve him, he becomes a 5/5. And it says whenever a ghost is put onto your field, give it +1, same. But whenever a ghost leaves your field, summon a Gargantuan Ghost token. And then last words, put this card into its owner's EX area. So it can come back as well. So what is a Gargantuan Ghost, you might ask? A Gargantuan Ghost is a 1-drop 3/3 ghost with ward, and it says at the start of your main phase, banish this card. So it's kind of the opposite. Instead of attacking on your turn and banishing, it sits around on your opponent's turn, and then it can block up because it has ward. So all of your little 1/1s or 2/1s become 4/3s and gum up the board. So really good. So we're running 2 of him in the Evo deck, and we are running 3 of them main deck. Just, hey, it makes our ghosts punch a little bit harder. We're also running 3 Cerberus main deck. She's just really efficient. You know what she does. She makes some Mimi and Coco tokens, and they can either pump up your dudes or do some damage. Just Mimi and Coco tokens for our Cerberus. She's kind of like a staple for this game for Abyss. And we're rounding out our Evo deck with 3 of her. Should probably put these in the right pile. New card, we have Dark Alice. This card's really, really sick. It's a 6-drop, 6/6 with Rush. Strike, each opponent discards a card, which is really, really solid, having that effect on Strike. And then last words, you banish the top 10 cards of your deck, and you put this follower onto its owner's field, discard a card. So basically, this just keeps coming back, but every time it does, you lose 10 cards from your deck, and you have to discard a card. Really efficient, running 2 of her in the deck. You'll see her in the other Abyss deck as well. Soul Conversion, just really solid. 1-drop, sack a dude, draw 2 cards. Really good on your ghosts or your Gargantuan Ghost, because this is quick. Razory Claw, just nice little burn damage to our opponent's face. And then rounding it out with a 3 of Phantom Howl, which just summons 4 ghosts. And if you have your big daddy ghost there, your Masquerade Ghost, summoning 4 ghosts is 8 damage to your opponent's face, which is pretty good. It's pretty solid. So yeah, that's the Ghost Aggro. Let's showcase the other Abyss deck. It's really weird and uses Fallen Angels. All right, and here we have Angels and Demons, or Fallen Angel Abyss. I like to call this Angels and Demons because we're running a lot of Angels and Demons, and also just kind of as a nice little moniker for the deck. We have our Evo deck. We have our Evo points. Oh, the sleeves for this are just so sick. Look at these. Look at these. I'm very much a fan of the aesthetic here. So let's talk about the deck. Hey, guess what's Fallen Angel? Dark Angel Olivia. So yeah, we're running a 3 of Dark Angel Olivia. By the way, for this being kind of a meme deck, it's kind of expensive because we're running a lot of like really nice cards. So yeah, Olivia, she's great. She does a lot of stuff. Draws cards, makes your opponent discard cards, gains life, gains Evo points. She's my favorite card in the game, or one of them. So running a full playset of her. Running a full playset of Bellringer Angels. This being an angel actually is relevant for the deck, which is kind of funny. But yeah, just Bellringer. Everyone, run your Bellringers. And this is why it's relevant. We're running Winged Inversion, which is an angel/fallen angel spell. It says choose one of the following: discard an angel follower, select an enemy follower on the field, and destroy it. Or you can choose discard a fallen angel follower, give your leader +3, and draw a card. So a nice little way to draw a card or to blow up something. Discarding the fallen angel is actually really relevant for our big mama angel here. So yeah, we're running 3 of those. Next up, we have some more fallen angels, not just Dark Angel Olivia. Just wanted to start with my favorite. So here we have Harbinger of the Night. This is a 2-drop 2/2. Fanfare, select an enemy follower on the field and deal 1 damage to it. Not too bad. Just kind of ping something down a little bit. It can also Evo for 1, and then when you evolve her, she becomes a 3/3. Evo, deal 1 damage to each enemy leader. So she also hits your opponent in the face. So running 3 of her. We have the Angel of Darkness, 3-drop 3/4, and then you can activate him and put a fallen angel follower from your field into its cemetery. Select an enemy fallen on the field and deal it 4 damage. So just you can sack your little angels to shoot something for 4. running 3 of them. And then here's our big payoff angel. I've seen some versions of the deck not run this, but you gotta run this. It's a 7-drop, 5/5 with ward, and then you can banish 3 fallen angel cards in your cemetery, select an enemy follower in the field, steal it, and refresh it. This ability can only be activated once per turn. Stolen followers are moved to your field. When they leave the field, they are put in their owner's corresponding zone. We're running 2 of her, but basically, we want to have our fallen angel cards here, not including the bell ringer, but all 12 of our fallen angel cards. We just need 3 of them in our bin, and then we steal our opponent's stuff. This card's hilarious and awesome. So yeah, that's our little fallen angel package. Now we have some like real cards. We have 2 of Crazed Executioner. You know what this card does. It's great. You evo it. You get to look at your opponent's hand, make him discard a card. Just really solid. We have one of my favorite Uma cards. We have Maruzensky, just a nice little like 2 or 3 for 1. She's a 3/3 fanfare. If you have Necrocharge 10, select an enemy from the field and give it -4/-4. We're running a full play set, but when you evolve her, you get to select an enemy from the field and give it -2/-2. And you can, you know, divvy that up. So -4/-4, -2/-2, and then you can attack into something else. Really, really solid. She's super efficient. We are running 2 of Cerberus for this deck, and then we have 1 Evo Cerberus, as you can see. Then, of course, we have our Mimi and Coco tokens for the Cerberus. Just really, really efficient. We are running 3 Soul Dealers. Great card from set 2. It's a 6/5 with Ward. Fanfare deals 3 damage to your leader. However, when you Evo him, we're running 2 in the Evo deck. When you Evo him, he kills something and then heals you equal to its attack, which is really good, and is a 7/6 Ward. So just really, really efficient. Great way to heal up. We're running 2 Dark Alice in this deck as well. We already went over that, but just a great way to make your opponent discard cards, and it just keeps coming back. Really annoying. This deck is running 2 of Azazels to do some OTK shenanigans. It's a 7-drop, 6/6. Fanfare, each opponent discards a random card, which is great, but more importantly, you can Evo it for 1. Also Necrocharge, it costs 3 less to play, but you Evo it for 1, running 2 here. And it says, change each enemy leader's health to 10. So you set your opponent's health to 10 and then just kill him with a various things. Oh, I forgot our 1 of Bellringer. We are running a Bellringer in the Evo deck. So there, that's our full Evo suite there. And then for our spells, Soul Conversion, it's just super good. And then a whole bunch of removal. We're running 2 Undying Resentment, 3 damage, and then you mill 1. Pretty good for the Necrocharge stuff. Surefire Bullet, 3 damage, or 4 if it's Evo'd. And then Execution just to kill whatever we want. And that's our Angel of Darkness, Fallen Angel deck. I don't know what you want to call it. It's weird and cool, and I want to play with it a lot. Yeah. And finally, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 RuneCraft decks. Yeah, don't let the deck boxes fool you. These are all RuneCraft decks. Let's go over my good one first, and then we have some kind of meme ones that I was just able to build because I have... The Rune decks are so different that I was able to build the other archetypes like pretty easily. So we have what I consider a really spicy, sweet deck that I'm calling Daiwa D-Shift. But then we also have... well, let's take a look at the leaders. Yeah, this one's Dirt, and then this one is Chess. So Dirt, Chess, and then Daiwa D-Shift. Let's look at the D-Shift first. All right, and like I said, this is my Daiwa D-Shift deck. Basically, I took the best parts of Uma Musume, or at least what I consider the best parts of the Uma Musume deck, and then just put them into a Rune deck. So yeah, this is all Rune, and it uses some of the best cards in Uma Musume, including the Daiwa Scarlet and Vodka combo. If you don't know, Daiwa Scarlet, just super, super good. She's a 4-drop, 3/4. And then when she enters the field, you get to search your deck for an Uma Musume spell, put in your hand. And then while it's on the field, the first Uma spell you play each turn costs 1 less to play. And then if you play, when you play a spell, if it's your 3rd spell this turn, select an Uma Musume follower on your field and give it and this follower Storm. So you can play a whole bunch of spells and give both Vodka and Daiwa Scarlet Storm. Daiwa Scarlet is just super, super good and just works so well in this archetype. And then Vodka, She is a 3-drop, but if there's a Daiwa Scarlet on your field, she costs 2 less to play, so she basically costs 1. And then she says, once per turn, when you play a spell, give each Uma Musume follower on your field +1/+1 and rush. So the idea is that you drop your Daiwa Scarlet and your vodka, and then you play a bunch of spells, and then you play your D-Shift and take an extra turn, and then you just kill them. Like, they give them Storm, and you just kill them. Yep, that's what you do. I think it's, like, better than, like, the Flame Golem guy, that's like a 7/7 rush, because this is going to be bigger than 7/7, and then potentially able to storm them on the first turn. Yeah, really, really solid stuff here. And we are running some carrots if you wanted to do the whole carrot race. By the way, our Evo deck is very pretty. So Evo deck, Evo points. All right, let's do more Rune stuff. So we have Rune Blade Summoner. This is a spell chain card. 3-drop 1/1, spell chain 5, get +5 or +4/+4. Spell chain 10 and Storm. This is another way we just kill our opponent on our D-Shift turn. It's a 3-drop 5/5 with Storm, right? So, yep, good way to just kill our opponent dead. We have one of my favorite cards and favorite characters in the entire game with the Dimensional Witch Daria. Gotta love my girl Daria here. Running 2 Daria. This is not the last deck you'll see with Daria. We have another Rune deck running Daria. She's a 6-drop 5/5. You can Evo her. Fanfare, discard your hand and then put the top card of your deck into your EX area, and then you keep doing that until your EX area is full. And then while this is on your field, you include both spells and followers in your cemetery when counting your spell chain. But that's not all, because when you Evo her, you basically get to play 2 things for free, which is great. So this is Evo Daria. She's a 6/6. On evolve, select a follower in your EX area. For the rest of the turn, it costs 5 less to play, and then you do that again for a spell. So you pick a spell and you pick a follower, and they both cost 5 less to play on the turn where you Evo Daria. So there are situations where you can actually do D-Shift way earlier than you normally could, because she can make it cost 5 points less. Super, super powerful. Then once again, she has the ability to count both followers and spells for spell chain. So yeah, she's really good with D-Shift. We're also running our 3 of Agnes Tachyon, just insanely powerful. Another one of our Uma followers, 2-drop 2/2. I call her Mini Merlin. When you play a spell, select an enemy follower on the field, give it -1/-1. And then her Evo version lets you get something back from your bin. So running a full set of the Evo. On evolve, select a spell in your cemetery, add it to your hand, and then she still has the -1/-1 effect. Just insanely powerful. This deck literally runs some of my favorite cards in the entire game. Hey look, Merlin, another one of my favorite cards. 3-drop 3/2, Evo for 2, search your deck for a spell, reveal it, add it to your hand for fanfare. And then the Evo version, similar to Agnes, select a spell that costs 3 play points or less in your cemetery, and then play it for 0 play points. Really, really good. What's important to note between the two, this only does 3 points or less. This one just says select a spell in your cemetery and put it in your hand. You can get your D-Shift back, which is kind of gross. Hey, look, here's D-Shift. So D-Shift is a 12 cost card. And when you play this card, you banish 10 spells in your cemetery, and it costs 7 less play points to play. And then you get to take another turn after this one. Pretty good, right? So we're running 2 of these, and basically we just want to play this on a turn where we can smash our opponent in the face or set up a board state and then kill them on our extra turn, right? Or play another D-Shift. Just really, 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 really solid. Yep. And now we have Insight. Draw a card. Really efficient. We have Fate's Hand. 3, cost reduction, spell chain. Draw 2 cards. Really, 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 really sweet. We have Lamplit, Training of a Witch to Be. Really important. This is an Uma Musume card. We can tutor it for it with Daiwa Scarlet, and then just deals 2 damage. And if we have a Racing Follower, deal 3 damage. Really solid. Another Uma card, Make Some Noise. 3 damage or 4 damage if we have an Uma card. Really solid. So those are like that's our Uma package, right? You go search for Lamplit or Make Some Noise. And then we have some other cards as well. So we have Witch Bolt, which is a nice little card here. Hit an enemy follower for 5, and if it's Evo'd, we get a draw card, which is pretty sweet. Or rather, if we have an Evo follower, we get a draw card. I was thinking too much of the Surefire Bullet. But yeah, if there's an Evo follower on your field, draw a card. Still, really good. We have a 1 of Demonic Strike, and this is for the Wombo combo potential. of Merlin. So you like dome them for 3 with Demonic Strike. Merlin, Evo Merlin, Demonic Strike them again for another 3. So this is just a good way to burn out our opponent and just keep getting the same Demonic Strike back and killing your opponent with it. So yeah, Demonic Strike. Rime Wind, really good removal spell. Select an unevolved follower on the field and return to the owner's hand. Spell chain 10, put on top of the deck, running a full set. And we have more removal with a full set of execution. This deck is super cool. This is probably one of my favorite decks of the format. Dude, Daiwa D-Shift is so sweet. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, let's talk about Chess Rune next. And I do want to give the caveat for both this deck and the Dirt Rune deck. Both of them should probably be running a full set of Merlins and a full set of Agnes Tachyons, but I don't have 9 of each, so they're running other cards instead. So these are actually like budget decks because of that. And they're probably less powerful, but hey, they are what they are. They're still fun though. We have our Evo deck, we have our Evo points, and let's talk about chess. So chess also just cares about the chess followers, right? Similar to Heroic, they kind of like synergize with each other. So we have a 1-drop 2/2. And if there's a magical pawn in your EX area, it gets +1 and ward. And magical pawns are just 1-drop 2/1 tokens. And you have a lot of ways to make these little jabronis. Like our magical bishop. 2-drop 1/2. Put a magical pawn in your EX area. At the start of your end phase, if there's another chess follower on your field, deal 1 damage to each enemy leader and heal your leader for 1. Pretty little solid card. We have the Magical Knight, 3-drop 3/3. You can Evo him, and whenever another chess follower is put into your field, you give it +1 attack. And then we have the Evo version of the Knight there. So the Evo Knight is a 4/4, and then on Evolve, summon a Magical Pawn token, which is pretty sweet, which becomes a 3/1 because it gets that +1/+1. So we have the Knight, we have our Queen, so it's a 4-drop 2/2, summon a magical pawn, and then put a magical pawn in your EX area, so you get 1 on field and 1 on your EX area, and then she evolves into a 3/3 that on evolve, select an enemy follower on the field and deal it X damage, where X equals the number of chess followers on your field. So a nice little way to dome your opponent's dudes out. She's pretty solid. Now we have our king, Mystical King, or Mystic King. 6-drop 5/5, you can Evo him for 2, and then you can activate his ability. Put another chess follower from your field onto its owner's cemetery, select an enemy follower on the field, and deal it 5 damage. For the rest of this turn, this card's abilities, except Evo, can't be activated. So basically, you just gotta sack a chess dude, hit something for 5. But the real power is his Evo form. 6/6 on evolve. Select up to 4 chess followers with different names that cost 4 play points or less from your cemetery and put them onto the field. So, guess what? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to have at least 1 of each of these in your bin, and then you Evo your king, and then you have your entire chessboard out, and they all do cool chessy stuff. So yep, we're running 3 of those, and then 3 kings. I really like this card, Witch of Sweets. I think it's pretty solid. It's a 2-drop 2/2, Evo for 0. And then when you Evo her, you just get a draw card. That's it, 2/2, draw card. I saw a lot of Japanese meta decks run this card, and I was like, you know what? I want to try this out. So I needed some cards to fill in for our lack of Agnes Tachyons and Merlins, so I put these in instead. We'll see how they work. Same for these 2 Dark Angel Olivias. I just really like the card. I think it's a good, efficient card. And I had to put something in instead of our other Agnes Tachyons and Merlins. So our last Evo card is our one of Agnes Tachyon. All right, the rest of the deck, we have Bellringer Angels. We have Magical Strategy, which just summons a pawn, which is pretty good. We have Check, which says select an enemy from the field, deal 4 damage, and look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You can reveal a chess card with a different name than this card, and then add it to your hand, put the remaining on the bottom of your deck in any order. Stuff like this spell is still a chess card, so you can get the spell if you'd like. Same as Blitz. Blitz just says select an enemy from the field and deal it X damage. X equals the number of cards named Magical Pawn on your field, +2. So if you don't have anything, it's still like a 1 for 2, which is pretty good. We have a 1 of Angelic Barrage just to deal 1 damage to our opponent's board, and we can buy it back with our Agnes if we need to. We have 3 Rime Wind. I already mentioned why Rime Wind is really good. Just good removal. We have our 1-of Demonic Strike, same kind of deal. We can Demonic Strike, Evo Agnes, Demonic Strike again, and then the Witch Bolt. Saw a lot of the same cards here. Like I said, this deck would be much more powerful with Merlins and Agnes. Basically, take out these, put in Merlin, take out these, put in Agnes, and there you have it. There you have your top tier chess deck. And then finally, we have our Dirt Rune deck or Earthright deck with Millie as the leader because it makes a lot of sense. All of her stuff has to do with Earthright. Once again, this is a deck that would be a lot better if I had more Merlins and more Agneses, but those are in my Daiwa D-Shift list. So let's just go over what we have here. I still think it's like pretty fun and maybe like a more like casual friendly deck if your opponents aren't playing with super optimized decks. I still think it's really good though. So we have the Cauldron of Calamity, one of the new cards. It's a Amulet, Earth Sigil with stack, and you get to look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you can reveal a card with Earthright from them, put them in your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Really, really good new stat card. We have Teachings of Creation, you know, draw a card, stat card. We have Alchemist Workshop, create a Strikeform Golem stat card. Remember, Strikeform Golems are 3/2s with Rush, and then Guardform Golems are the opposite. They're 2/3s with Ward. So running 3 of those. We have our 2 Juno Secret Laboratory. If you'd like a more detailed rundown of all this kind of stuff, I did a whole Earth Rune deck, but these are just all like staple Earth Rune cards. She just generates a lot of golems or sediments if you need them. The sediments are the stack tokens that help you get more stack and all that kind of stuff. We have Lamplit Training, nice little card, 1-drop, deal, removal, deal some damage. Same thing with Surefire Bullet, nice little removal, do some damage. These are better than Make Some Noise in this deck because we're not running any Uma followers, so dealing with 4 damage is easier. We have Golem Protection. This is a pretty sweet card because it's a 4-drop that we can play for free off of our Wizardess of Oz. So having like higher drop cards is, you get more value out of that. But summons 2 Guardform Golems, and then you can Earthright and give all your Golems +1/+1, which is really sweet. We're running the Witch's Suites in this deck as well. Like I mentioned, I think this is just a really solid card that I saw a lot of decks running. So Witch's Suites with 3 in the Evo, just to draw that extra card and to have that little bit of rush there. Ancient Alchemist is a must-have staple for any Earthright deck, and so we're running 3 in the main and then 3 in the Evo. They're just really, really solid and help you kill your opponent. Because you get to summon 2 Guardform Golems in your EX area on play, but more importantly, the Evo version makes it so all of your Golems cost 1 less to play, and then whenever a Golem enters your field, you can hit your opponent's follower or a leader for 3. So you can just deal a gross amount of damage, especially if you have multiples on the field. Running the Runic Guardian, a really solid, efficient card. Earthright becomes a 4/6, a 3-drop 4/6 with Ward is pretty sweet, or you can get a Magic Sediment if you need them. We have Remy Ramy, which is another card from the Dirt Rune deck. Just a nice little Evo card that when you evolve her, you get summon a Strikeform Golem, and then if you Earthright it, it gets another +2. So that's a 5-attack Strikeform, which is pretty sweet, plus the 4 here. That's actually 9 power. 4 plus the 5, so 9 power just for 4 play points, right? 3 plus the 1 to Evo. Pretty solid. And then you can see here the Daria. We are running Daria as well. Let's just kind of show Daria before we do all the Earthright finishers. So we have Daria, same reason as before. Daria is just a great way to, once we gas out, to draw up. She has less combo potential in this deck because we're not running a lot of spell chain or anything. It's just really, really efficient in this deck. So we're running 2 Daria main deck, and then 2 Daria in our Evo deck. I saw some other Rune decks or other Dirt decks run her. I think she's really solid. And then we have our suite of Earthright finishers. So Pascal is great when you play her. You get a Magic Sediment token, and then you can Earthright to give one of your dudes +2/+2, or one of your opponent's dudes -2/-2. So just really, really solid. And then we have the new card, Wizardess of Oz. I opted for this art over the Millie art because I just like this art. It's classic. 6-drop 4/6. Fanfare, you get a Magic Sediment, you add 1 stack, and then you also draw a card. So basically you get 2 stack, and then you draw a card. And then a quick Earthright, the next spell you play this turn costs 4 less to play, and you can only activate this once per turn. So she basically makes your first thing you play every single turn free, which is really, really sweet, like first spell. So that's why stuff like the golem protection, any of the removal is just super, super efficient. I'm considering running some more spells with Wizardess of Oz. Not sure yet, but we're running 3 of her here. She's just so efficient. And then another finisher is Erasmus. Fanfare Earthright. Select an enemy follower on the field, deal it 6 and then 2 to the leader, and then you can activate him, Earthright, 6 to a follower, 2 to the leader. Just a great way to burn our opponent out. And then some of the cards that I was considering are the, it's a Sweets Buffet Amulet. That's just an amulet that heals you for 3 when you play it, maybe. This is one of the 4 drops I was considering to pair with Wizardess of Oz, because Multi-Point Experiment seems really sweet, and it seems pretty good with Daria. And it says, choose up to 2 of the following, spell chain 10, choose 3 instead. So you can select an enemy fall on their field and deal it 3 damage, or you can summon a guard form golem, or you can draw a card. So that is, with all of them, shoot something for 3, get a guard form, and draw a card for 4. And if you play that for free off of your Wizardess, seems pretty good. Yeah, I'm not sure. So this is kind of in our maybe board. I'm still unsure about this deck, still brewing it. And then the last Erasmus to round it out. And that's our weird Millie Dirt Rune. And those are our 9 Shadowverse Evolved decks currently for this season. Let me know if there are any from here that you'd like me to cover in more detail or play in a gameplay video. I think there's a good number here that I would like to do full features on like the Egg deck, the Heroic Sword, maybe the Weird Angel deck. Yeah, just let me know down below. I'm definitely going to do a video on the Daiwa D-Shift. There's a lot of stuff I want to do for Shadowverse Evolve. Really, really loving the game. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.